Hello and welcome to Cheers to Fears, where we take horror films and turn them into drinking games. We're your two hosts, I'm Alex.
And I'm Tucker. Today we will be making a drinking game for Rob Zombie's Halloween. Written and directed by Rob Zombie, of course. Zombie is also pretty well known in the horror world as he has written and directed other films such as the Firefly trilogy, The Lords of Salem, and 31.
Rob Zombie's Halloween stars the three main characters, Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, and Dr. Loomis, as it is a remake of the 1978 source material. The biggest difference, though, is that we get to see a glimpse into Michael Myers' childhood and upbringing, and it was not normal by any means. He was consistently bullied, abused by his mother's boyfriend, and showed early signs of a serial killer by murdering animals.
He had the upbringing of a serial killer, and those urges finally decided to take over as he goes on a killing spree one Halloween night. From there on, he is sent to a psych ward under the care of Dr. Loomis. This is where many of the same moments from the first movie in the franchise takes place. Laurie goes babysitting on Halloween only for Michael Myers to try and kill her and her friends.
Just a fair warning, there are spoilers ahead, so if you have not yet watched the movie, feel free to pause the video and watch the movie now, and consider using our drinking rules that will be posted on the screen now. If spoilers are not an issue, or if you have already seen the movie, then let's continue.
Rule number 1, as always, is death. If you see somebody dying, you take a sip. In this installment of Halloween, we counted 20 deaths in total.
Our next rule is another basic rule for any horror movie drinking game. If you hear somebody scream, cry, or yell, you must take a sip.
What the hell is going on here? Bring it up! I said bring it up!
We heard a grand total of 30 screams, cries, or yells in the movie.
Now onto the Halloween franchise rules. This set of rules starts with if you hear the words Halloween, you have to take a sip from your drink. This rule calls us to take 6 sips.
Happy Halloween, boo.
Once again, we are going to skip pumpkins, and if you are up to date with some of our other Halloween episodes, you will know why. That means our next rule is if you see a slasher sin on screen, you take a sip. Some examples of which are if people are getting intimate, or if people are drinking. For this rule, we witnessed only a total of 5 slasher sins.
Hitting the halfway point for our rules, we have if you hear Michael or Myers being said in a sentence, you take a sip. This movie is brutal for this rule, considering that everybody is saying Michael or Myers in the first half of the movie.
Dude, if I see that Myers pussy, he's fucking dead!
This is because they are directly speaking to him as a kid. As evidence to just how bad this rule was, it caused us to take 40 sips, which is over a full drink.
Another rule that went along with the previous one is that if you saw Michael Myers on screen, you have to take a sip. Considering the entire first act of the movie followed Michael around as he was a kid, he was seen quite a lot. 27 drinks worth, to be exact.
One rule that was pretty low in comparison to the others is that you drink if you hear the Halloween theme song. The theme song was hardly present in this movie as we only had to drink 3 times because of this rule. We do want to clarify that we are only referring to the melody of the theme song, not the rhythm, which happens a little bit more.
Let's move on to 3 rules for Rob Zombie's version of Halloween. To start, if you see somebody put on a mask, you are supposed to take a drink. This rule equivalates to you having to take 10 drinks.
Next, because it's both a Rob Zombie movie and a Halloween movie, you know that animals are going to die. This is why for our next rule, you must take a sip for each dead animal. If you've seen as many as us through the movie, that would mean you have to take 6 sips.
And our final rule for the drinking game is you must take a sip whenever nudity is seen or sexual acts are referenced. We did, however, not include acts that were slasher sins, as we did not want to double up on these 2 rules. With that in mind, we had to take 11 drinks for this rule.
And that does it for the rules for Rob Zombie's Halloween. The total number of drinks you have to take for this movie comes to 158 sips by our count, which is the equivalent of drinking a little bit over 5 standard 12-ounce cans. That number is based off of a 30 sip per can scale.
So this is, I'd say, one of our harder Halloween drinking games, especially with Michael Myers being said quite a bit.
Michael? Michael, what the fuck are you doing in here?
Up to 40 times.
Yeah, well, and not only Michael Myers being said, but him being shown on screen. Pumpkins, we didn't include pumpkins, but if we did, it would have been 52 drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So with all the rules that we had that were already so high on the spectrum, if we included 52, it would have made this drinking game even more intense. Another rule that was pretty intense that we did include is screaming, crying, and yelling. And I mentioned to you that this version of Halloween kind of reminded me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre because of how whiny Laurie was screaming in this movie.
Linda, wake up, please! Linda, wake up!
Which leads me to Laurie the actor, Scout Taylor Compton, I think her name is. She's nothing compared to Jamie Lee Curtis, we'll say now.
Well, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Which really I didn't expect going into this movie. I didn't think they would live up to Jamie Lee Curtis in that role. But I also didn't really like her that much in the role. I don't know. She just gave off different vibes. I just felt like she was too edgy to play Laurie in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's a fair assessment, but Rob Zombie will do what Rob Zombie wants, I guess.
Yeah, and you can kind of expect that in his movie. It's kind of made to be trashy.
Yeah, and that leads us to the supporting cast, mainly Danielle Harris as Annie.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. Even when I was watching it, I had no idea, but that's cool to learn.
Yeah, I didn't know that the first time either, but she was definitely, I'd say, one of the stronger parts, especially for supporting cast. Better than the Annie from the first one, I'd say for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe we are slightly biased because she was a good kid actor in 4 and 5. But I think she did a good job. And like you said, she did better than the original Annie, I think.
Yeah.
She wasn't like as robotic with her lines. It was a little bit more natural.
And now there's Dr. Loomis, played by Malcolm McDowell, which honestly, I liked him more than Donald Pleasance.
Okay. I wouldn't go that far personally. I do like how we got to see him interact with Michael as a kid more.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of seeing kind of the process of how he was tending to Michael. I do like that part better. But I think Donald Pleasance just, I don't know, it's so iconic in that role. And for me, it's hard to get over that.
Yeah.
But I did like Malcolm McDowell in this role as well. And he did a good job. I guess I'm just biased to the originals a little bit.
That's fair. It could have just been, in my opinion, that we saw so much more backstory of him, so there was just so much more to keep us, have him connected.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I like him more, but that's just my personal opinion, probably because we got to see more of him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially when he was younger, kind of talking to Michael.
And that brings us to our next point, which Rob Zombie changed Michael Myers a bit by giving him that backstory and kind of explaining why Michael became what he became and why he became a monster. In your opinion, do you think that was a good choice or not so good?
So, it's really hard to say because it was definitely different. No matter if I liked it or not, it was something very unique to the Halloween franchise as a whole, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, explaining Michael Myers' backstory might have had people say, like, oh, it's too much explanation, we don't like it as much now. Or it might have been like, yes, we want that because of the whole, like, serial killer craze, especially with, like, all these documentaries on Netflix now, right?
Oh, yeah. And, yeah, I think it really, I could see both sides to the argument. I could see why someone would want the mystery of Michael Myers and just not know why he's doing what he's doing and just kind of see the monster on screen and, you know, do whatever he does. But I also understand, and I get it more that people would want a backstory to him. Is that's kind of something that I was curious about in the original franchise, and it was kind of neat to see. It maybe could have been handled a little better or maybe in a different way or something. Like, it wasn't perfect, I'll admit that.
Yeah.
But it was still a nice change, I guess, to the original, and he added a little bit of his own ideas to it and didn't just copy it.
Definitely. And talking about the backstory a little, I wish they expanded on why he killed Judith. I feel like that's just like the iconic Michael Myers kill in the franchise. So I feel like, at least I would have wished it was expanded on just a little bit more.
Yeah, I could agree to that point.
And leading off of that, why doesn't he kill Angel, like the baby Laurie Strode in that one? I don't know, I feel like maybe it's because he still has a heart at that point, especially when he's still talking, so he sees the baby as innocent.
Yeah, I feel like the reason he didn't is because pretty much in the beginning, everyone that he murdered did him wrong in some way.
Yeah.
So, like, his sister was being a bitch to him, wouldn't take him trick-or-treating, and, like, you know, just kind of bullying him, I guess. His stepdad, if you want to call him that, was abusive. And then I guess the boyfriend didn't really do anything to him, but it's just because he was his sister's boyfriend.
It's because he was there that she didn't take him trick-or-treating, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why he didn't kill Laurie, or Angel, I guess they called her. And I can get that point of view, especially, like, it's the first time killing someone. Well, he killed that kid in the forest, but aside from that, he I think he still has, like you said, he still has a bit of a heart, and he's not just killing random people for the sake of killing them.
Yeah. It just kind of goes to show that he's trying to reason with these things in his mind. It's like, my sister didn't take me trick-or-treating, so I should not care for her. So he has logic to kill her, when at the same time, he shouldn't really have this logic.
It's a little bit of extreme reaction.
Yeah, but in his head, that he's just kind of rationalizing.
Yeah, exactly. He tries to justify his actions.
Yeah, and so now he tries to kill Lori, and it's like, why would I kill this kid? This kid hasn't done anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just him trying to rationalize things.
Yeah. So we mentioned how Rob Zombie changed a few things in this one, specifically by giving Michael a backstory as the main thing. He also kind of changed how Michael Myers looks in a way.
Mm-hmm.
He made him much bigger. Like, he was played by Tyler Mane, who is 6 feet 8 inches tall.
Yeah.
Which is, it's tall. And he's not only tall, but he's big.
Yeah.
So it makes him look a lot more terrifying and like more of a monster because of that, which I actually like. And I'm glad that he did make that change, because in the original, he doesn't look all that menacing or anything like that. Yeah. Where this one, he does look scary, I guess. Yeah,
he looks super intimidating.
Yeah.
This Michael Myers, I think, blows the others out of the water just because the full, like, brutality that even his look just presents.
Mm-hmm.
You know this guy's strong, you know this guy can definitely do some damage. Mm-hmm. Like in the scene where he's just bashing the guy's hand against the bathroom wall. Apparently they didn't use stunts or anything like that. The two actors just actually destroyed the bathroom, which is terrifying to think about.
Oh, yeah.
So what are your overall thoughts on Rob Zombie's Halloween?
Overall, like, I think it was a unique spin on the franchise, or on the Halloween movie. And I like that Rob Zombie tried something different and he took a new approach to it.
Yeah.
I may be a little bit biased because I watched this movie as a kid, like, so many times because it was on Max on Demand for free on TV. So I watched it several times before I even saw the original Halloween. So I saw this, and this is what was in my head as the Halloween movie. So I could be biased for that reason, but I still do like and appreciate that he tried something new. And it was just, I do like the gore and stuff that he brought into it. And yeah, it was just a different spin, kind of different tone to the movie. I'm not the biggest fan of Rob Zombie's trashy horror that he does. It's just a bunch of hillbillies. This is the hillbilly Halloween, if you want to be honest.
I feel like it would be so much better for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because that would suit the movie so much better. But I mean, you can do what you want, but he tried to do something different. You can at least appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a huge influence on Rob Zombie, which it shows in all of his work, honestly.
Yeah. And finally, we come to the awards ceremony, where we award one not-so-lucky nominee, the Darwin Award. This award goes to a character who made a stupid decision that resulted in them getting killed, somebody else getting killed, or simply resulting in something bad happening that could have been easily avoided. This award can also be given to a character that is just plain dumb. Here are the nominees.
The first nomination goes to Wesley for bullying the quiet kid in the back of the class and then saying, "You are so dead." He then gets beaten by Michael to a bloody pulp and asks him to please stop, and he says he's sorry. I feel like that is just going back on your word at that point, kid.
Next, we have Michael Myers for the exact same thing he did in the first movie, stealing his sister's gravestone and hauling the 1,100-pound boulder across the city just to place it somewhere to look symbolic.
The janitor Ismail is the next nominee today. And why, you may ask? It's for a line that he says to Michael in the movie. He tells him to learn to live inside of his own head, and that no walls can stop him in there. This possibly makes him learn that he has the freedom to do whatever he wants, as long as he is fine with it in his own head.
You gotta look beyond the walls. You know, learn to live inside your head. Hey, there's no walls that can stop you there.
On top of that, when he is drowning in the sink, he could just, unclog it.
The fourth and final nominee is Michael's mom's boyfriend, Ronnie. He is on the list for very likely making Michael Myers who he turned into. Also, bullying the kid that just murdered a bunch of animals and clearly has psychological issues.
And the winner is Ronnie, for constantly verbally abusing Michael and likely causing him to become the person he became. Not to mention, he shouldn't have kept harassing Michael about the dead animals, since that is an early sign of a serial killer.
And with all that being said, we hope you enjoyed our look into Rob Zombie's Halloween. If you end up playing the game alongside the movie, or if you have any other feedback or suggestions, let us know in the comments below. Also let us know in the comments what you thought of Rob Zombie's spin on it.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook and like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next episode where we are going to be making a drinking game for Rob Zombie's sequel, Halloween 2. If you want to check out our most recent video on Halloween Resurrection, click the box on the top right. Or if you want to see a playlist of all the drinking games and movies we review, click on the box below it. Thanks for tuning in, and this is us saying, cheers to fears.
These are the eyes of a psychopath.